Peace, peace, peace. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who don't know, it's your boy Vic Slain Hope, and I got another video for y'all. In this video, I am going to be talking about the 4 reasons why women love ain't shit ass dudes, the Pookies and the Ray Rays. Yes, you heard it right. It's 4 reasons that I'm gonna break down and give y'all some components to them. Before I even go into that, I got a video for y'all. I got a video clip that I'm gonna play for y'all real quick, and then I'm gonna come back and break everything down. So let's get to the video clip real quick.
If we had a fight, how would you make it up to me? Contestant number 1.
Hey, how are you?
I missed you.
So I would gaslight you into you thinking you're the problem, and then I would abuse you emotionally till you get to a point where you only get satisfaction from me and if I tell you you look good or anything like that, and then I would start slightly treating you better so you think I'm changing. And then it would be this off and on until you're almost hooked for life, and I'm like, almost like a drug to you, where even when you're not around me and we break up, like you're yearning for me, like nicotine. Oh, and if that doesn't work, I'd go to a movie.
If all else fails, a movie. Okay.
All right, who are you most attracted to?
The first one in the black jacket.
You said the first one in the black jacket, or did you say the guy behind him?
So it's crazy, right? Yeah, so that was just a clip, and of course some people might say, anyway, before I even get into what I'm going to get into, make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe, and you share the video if you're rocking with my content. It don't hurt to do that, right? Now, some people might say, oh, that was just some young girl, she's immature. You know, some women make up all the excuses to kind of like talk about like what's actually happening in the women community, right? And why they picking shitty ass dudes, right? But some people will deflect and say, oh, she was just young, she's ignorant, she has low self-esteem, you know, all those excuses, not excuses, but all the things that people say to kind of like deflect that there is an issue. But notice how this man broke down how he was going to gaslight her, manipulate her, use her, do all this type of stuff, and she still picked him. She still found him the most attractive. Why, right? And this is kind of like the questions that a lot of brothers be kind of like puzzled about. So I'm going to break down 4 components as to why that's some of the things that are occurring. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is relationship with the parents at home, right? There's a psychological study that speaks about how like your parents' relationships and stability affects the children's sexual behaviors, you know, when they get to their teenage years. So if your parents were separated when you was 5 years or younger, or if, you know, you just experienced some type of traumatic experiences, or your dad moving funny or weird in the house, or him not being around, it has negative and adverse effects on you as a adolescent, as a teenager, relating to sexual risky behaviors and depression, adolescent depression, right? Also, there's a weird relationship between like daughters and fathers and mothers and sons, right? This is also like a psychological stuff that you can even look up to. You can look into the theories of penis envy, and the dynamics of like how like mothers compete with daughters for like attention of the father and vice versa, right? Like, you know, the boys compete for the attention of the mom. So there's a weird dynamic that exists when like young people are growing up, which is why like children tend to end up in relationships with people who resemble their parents. Like women tend to end up in relationships with men that resemble their dads, and men end up with women that resemble their mom. Even if your father didn't raise you, for some reason women are still ending up with men who are like their fathers, which is a very, very, very kind of like weird yet fascinating phenomenon. So that's one of the aspects, right? Relationship with your parents, if your father, like, because see, the father is the first man that teaches a woman. Your father is the first person that's gonna love you, not in a non-sexual way. Even though there's some weird sexual shit there because you end up with men like your father, you're attractive to that. um he's the first man, right, in your life that is gonna teach you about love that is not necessarily sexual, right? And when you don't have that, or when it's fractured or and it's funny money, then you kind of like grow up not really being able to decipher certain things, or you grow up with low self-esteem, or you grow up just having certain issues when it comes to, picking men or dating them. Which leads me to the next point, right? Point number 2, which is about vetting. Women don't know how to vet. They don't know how to pick men. They don't know what to look for, which is why your father used to be the one back in the days who used to pick your spouse. He will pick your husband. Why? Because when men make decisions, oftentimes it's based on logic and what is best, right? Oftentimes women, not saying that women can be logic, but most of the time they make decisions based on their emotions and how they feel. And anybody, man or woman, who is out here making decisions based on feelings, you are setting yourself up to lose. So because a lot of women today, they either don't listen to their father, or their father is not around, or they just don't respect their opinions, or they need to be able to bring their parents, specifically the father, into the vetting of who they're going to be with. And the more you choose to not really think about what your parents got to say, especially your father, because he's a man, and a man could pick up on vibes from other men that women can't pick up, right? Like we know when a dude is trying to game me. We know when a dude is trying to play games. A lot of times women can't pick those things up, right? Because again, it's all about how you make them feel. And when a person is operating on their emotions and their feelings, you can say anything to them to make them feel good. You can whisper sweet nothings in their ear all day long. This is why women always fall for those things. This is why it's so easy to manipulate them. It's so easy to take advantage of them. They don't like to hear this because they don't want to feel weak. But you are weaker than men. You are. Okay? You are. It is what it is. Like, you either want to get better or you don't. Right? So this is why it's so easy to men. This is why a lot of women got the same stories. It's because it's so easy to manipulate them. It's so easy to get in their ear. It's so easy to just make them feel some type of way, and now they're making decisions based on their feelings. So it's very important for women to get back into the habit, even if it's not your dad or uncle or grandfather, some type of man that you trust when you are trying to vet somebody. Because again, it don't hurt to have the input of a man to how he feels about this individual, and not necessarily feel, but it's just kind of like assessing the situation in a way that you might not be able to do. The same way that women can assess other women and they could vet other women and they could pick up certain things on other women that a man might not be able to pick up. It's kind of like the same thing. So that's point number 2. They don't know how to vet, and we need to get back into like bringing our families, our parents, back into the vetting of our spouses. Because our fathers most likely is gonna pick based on logic, based on what you need, based on what is gonna be good for you in the long run, not just what feels good right now or for the time being. Because feelings always change, right? Which is why a lot of times women do make impulsive decisions based on feelings. How many times women call the cops when they get mad at a man? They'll call the cops and lie, say he hit him. Or sometimes women even go as far as making sexual allegations just because they feel some type of way. So we see every day how impulsive some of our sisters are when they are feeling or when they are moody and things is not really going their way. So that's point number 2. Point number 3, I want to speak about control. Control is one of the main things, right? Because for a long time in America, our women, let's just say, they didn't really have control of themselves. Like they wasn't making as much money. In some cases, they wasn't even really working. They wasn't really on the workforce, education. So today, they have been granted a lot of access to things, right? Education, like jobs, like business opportunities, etc. Right? Even to a certain extent, like they feel like they could just do whatever with their bodies, right? Like shame is at an all-time low. So women feel like, oh, I could be sexually however I want, sexually explicit, you know, they're able to wear scantily clothes. Like before, they couldn't do that, right? Like you had to wear long skirts. Like they were being policed in certain ways, right? Even though it was for their protection, but you know, you get what I'm going with this. So now they have a little more control to do a lot of things. And when people are new to power, to a certain level of power or a certain level of control, oftentimes they don't know how to use it. Oftentimes they overstep their boundaries, and they lose control, right? Because they're not used to having this much power. And that's kind of like where we are at with some of our sisters. Our sisters have gotten control in the sense of, you know, now they're like head of the households, right? You know, they're running the households, they're running their own businesses, they're running companies, corporations, they getting in positions. They even feel like I could have sex with whoever I want. Like I can move however I want to move and nobody could say nothing, and no slut shaming and all of these things, right? So that level of power and control has gotten to them to the point where it's like some of these sisters want to be in control over men, right? And the Pookies and the Ray Rays are the only men that they can kind of control. They can't really control a self-sufficient man, right? They can't really, and because they like this new sense of power that they have been given, they like to be in control. Oftentimes you hear some sisters say things like, I'm waiting for the right man, or I'm waiting for an alpha, or I want to do like, and it's like the realities is when some of these women get those men, they realize they're no longer going to be in control of that situation. And because they like this new power that they have been given, they can't dwell in those relationships, right? Because the reality is this: when you get with a man who is a man in his divine masculinity, he not going to play certain games with you. When you get a man who is self-sufficient and he doesn't really need you, right? He's not going to play with you a certain way. You either going to come correct or you're going to be out your way. You're going to be on your way, right? So these sisters that been playing this role of like, I'm the head of my household. I got my own car. I got my own crib. I got my own this. I got my own that. I'm an independent. You know what I'm saying? When they get into these situations, they can't function because they like to keep the control. So the Pookies and the Ray Rays, they're able to control them. How do they control them? One, these dudes are men that are lacking in their masculinity. So they probably was raised by a single mom. And if they were raised by a dad, he maybe he was lacking too, or he wasn't as person as he should have been. As he should have been. So these men are struggling with things, right? And so because they're struggling with things, some of these guys move in with these women. They move in with these women. Their name is not on the lease. She's already in control like that, right? When she gets mad at you, when y'all having problems, she gonna tell you, get your shit. I'm kicking you out the crib. Pack your bags. She gonna talk to you in a certain way. Why? Because she is in control. You don't have no control, no say so. You living with her in her apartment. Your name not on the lease. She got you by the balls, bro. Another thing under control, bad credit. Some of these dudes have poor credit. They don't got their shit in order, right? So what they do is they're using women. They're getting cars in their names. They're getting whatever property or whatever other things. They need these women. Again, they're not self-sufficient. So they be needing women. Oh, like get this under your name, you know. Again, she got you by the balls. When she feels some type of way, she gonna play with your property. Because at the end of the day, it's under her name. So she has the control, right? Another thing, needy, right? These men are needy. You know how many men I know, they don't know how to cook. They don't know how to clean. They don't know how to feed themselves. This is survival things. They don't know how to organize stuff. Some dudes don't even know how to book flights, pick hotels, create an itinerary. A lot of men don't know how to do these things. And what do they use? They use women, because women are very good at these, are organizing certain things, right? So these women that have gotten this control, they like the fact that they can control some of these men because these men are needy and they need them. And a lot of times these men were raised by single mothers who baby fed them all their lives. They never allow them to be self-sufficient. My mother, from the moment I was 12 years old, she stopped doing my laundry. At 12, 13 years old, she was like, you're going to go do your own laundry. So I learned how to do my laundry. Around that same time, I learned how to cook. So my mother was instilling certain things so I wouldn't be crippled and attached to somebody, to a woman, specifically. Because that's how my grandmother also raised her kids. But a lot of these dudes, they can't feed themselves. They can't do their laundry, right? They can't put something on their name because their credit is bad, right? They don't have housing. They don't have a car. And I'm not saying that you need those things, because you don't have to have a car and all of those things, but you need to be self-sufficient. That's really what it comes down to. And if you're not self-sufficient, you're relying on somebody. And oftentimes, because these dudes were coddled by their mama, they still looking for their mama in other women. And these women, they like that because they like this newfound control, right? They like this idea that I can control you, which is why some of these women, they really don't want those alpha men, if we want to call them that, or those self-sufficient men, because he's not going to play with you. So these dudes, they put up with certain behaviors that the women do. They put up with the slick talking. They put up with some other shit. Why? Because you're living in her house, you're using her car, you're using her credit, and you're needy, bro. So you can't even really break away from this woman. So she gonna talk to you however she wanna talk to you. Kind of like how the dudes of old, some of the dudes used to kind of like abuse their women and talk to them in a certain way because those women needed them. It's kind of like the same thing that's going on with the Pookies and the Ray Rays. Some of these women want to be in control. The other aspect of control is sometimes they chase self-sufficient men, and those men sometimes they be assholes too, right? And the reason why they chase self-sufficient men, or men that treat them like shit, that do got stuff going on for themselves, is because they want to be able to, what's the word I'm looking for? They want to be able to break them down. They want to, it's thrilling to them, right? It's almost like a different control. I want to be in control. Again, they are chasing control. So even in the situations that they not really in control, they might stay in them and get treated like shit by some man that's probably rich and got money and self-sufficient, but because they want to be in control. So they feel like, damn, I've been in control over my last 5 relationships, right? So they feel like I could control this dude. Like I could get him, I could tame him, I could break him down. So they chasing that control. And that's another way in which control works, and why sometimes sisters be staying in those situations. Now, the last one, number 4, is women are primal. Not just women, humans have primal instincts for the most part. Self-preservation is one of them. But women are primal, right? So part of them being primal is that they're bratty, right? For the most part, a lot of times women have these moments. Women are like big kids, right? People don't like when I say this, but women are like big children. Why? You gotta take care of them. Let's just talk on some traditional standpoint. You have to take care of them, right? Protecting them, providing. You do the same thing for children. You gotta do it for women. Every time it came to a thing of threat or security, they always say protect the women and the children. Why? Because they're weaker than us. I don't care how mad y'all get. That's just the reality. So women are, in a sense, under our responsibility. So I say they like big kids. And the reason why I say they like big kids is because they're bratty. When they don't get their way, when they don't get what they want, they throw tantrums, right? They'll shame you. They'll be like, oh, why I can't get that? Why I can't get this? They get their little attitudes. They throw their little fit. That's the same shit kids do when they don't get candy or when they don't get the toy they want, right? Women do the same thing. They'll try to shame you. Oh, a real man would have did this for me. A real man would have did that. My ex did this. Her boyfriend did that. They get bratty. They throw little tantrums, right? So, and part of being bratty is that women want to be with a man who can tame them. Most of them. It's not going to be all of them. But because they're bratty, they want to be with a man who is able to put them in their place. And this is stuff that women have said out their mouth to me. I need a man that can put me in my place. We hear it all the time. And a lot of times, women say the nice guy, the good guy, are not able to do that. They don't have no backbone. They say yes all the time. They never say no. They let them walk all over them. They don't, you get what I'm saying? So let's go back into the animal kingdom, because we are part of the animal kingdom. People don't like when I bring animal examples too for some reason. But a lot of our behaviors is imitated from animals. So what happens in the animal kingdom, right? When the dog want to have sex with the female dog, what does he do? He run up on her, he sniff her butt. I mean, he sniff the butt and the coochie or whatever, whatever. She snaps at him. You know what I'm saying? She try to, bite him and do all of that. And you know what he does? He shows his dominance. He shows his dominance. And she plays her role. She plays her position. He tames her, right? The same thing happened with lions. The same thing happens throughout the animal kingdom. It happens with us too. Women do certain things. They play hard to get. They get they get they get their lower attitude. They do certain things, and men tame them. So some women will tell you like, I need a man that can tame me, right? This is primal. This is primal instincts, right? So because of that, like I said, some of these sisters feel like those other men, the good guys or the nice guys or the they're a little softer or whatever, they don't really seem to be able to tame them in a certain way, right? So this is why a lot of women oftentimes they say things like, I need somebody to smash me like a slut. I need to be dominated. I need somebody who is gonna you get what I'm saying? This is not what I'm saying. This is what we hear these sisters say all the time. So they kind of like want that dude that is able to exert that. And for some reason, I don't know what's going on, but they saying the good guys don't seem to be able to. They don't got that. They don't got that thing in them. I don't know how true it is. I'm just saying that. Another thing that goes back to primal is helper, right? I believe women are helpers by nature. We could go biblical with it. God created Adam. Out of Adam, he created Eve, so they could dwell in tranquility, right? So she could assist him and they could, work together. So women are like helpers. Aside from biblical stuff, they're just naturally better at caretakers, health professionals, right? Like they're just better at that, right? There's a reason why, like, even if you grew up in a 2-parent household, if you got sick as a child, they will call your mother before they call your father, right? We just have certain roles. People trying to go away from their roles and stuff, but like women are just naturally better at being helpers, caretakers, health practitioners. Like I would rather a female nurse all day over a male nurse, right? It's just part of their nature. So part of them being helpers, when they encounter these men who got all of these issues, right? Who got these mama issues, daddy issues, just got a lot of shit going on. They go into helper mode. They go into, I just want to help him. I just want to be there for him. I want to restore him. I want to heal him. Mind you, they don't be healed themselves, right? But that's just the primal instinct in them. Excuse me. That's just the primal instinct in them. Like, I want to heal him. You know what I'm saying? Just like a mother take care of her cubs in the wild, right? Or how mothers, you watch, I don't know if y'all watch Animal Planet, but the same way that the female, she looks out for the cubs, or she, even the monkeys, right? They be manhandling their kids, but they be trying to just protect their kids. That's really what they're doing. But it's the same thing, right? A woman has that nurture aspect. So when she encounters these broken men, she tries to fix them. She tries to heal them. She tries to work with them, because it's part of her healing and her helper and her nurturing essence, right? Even if a woman is super masculine, I believe most of our sisters, even the masculine ones, they still got some of that essence in them that they just need to probably tap into it a little more. But I believe that essence is still in there. So yeah. And I think that's the end of it. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Let me know what y'all thoughts are. I like hearing from y'all. Some people might not like what I said, but I believe these are the 4 reasons. These are the 4 components. And the components are, your parental instability in the home is one of the reasons why women pick bad men. Also, they don't know how to vet, and they don't involve their parents, especially their dads. They don't involve their dads or a male that they trust, or some type of family male relative. They don't involve them in the vetting process, which ends up in them usually picking men based on their feelings. And we know when you make decisions based on your feelings, you're destined to fuck up. The next thing is control. They want to control the situation. and it's easier to control a man who don't got shit going on for himself and he needs you. It's easier to control a man who's not self-sufficient than the man who is self-sufficient. And lastly is because they're primal. And also part of the being primal is the chaotic states, right? They love the love and hip hop. They love the gossip. They love the shade room. They love chaos, which is why sometimes sisters, when stuff is even cool and calm, they will start an argument. They'll start an argument. They'll piss you off. Like they'll just do something to stir up the water. You know what I'm saying? Because some sisters, they just, and again, that could come back from trauma and parenting, and household and stuff like that. But yeah, but let me know what y'all thoughts are in the comment section. Y'all stay safe out there. Peace.